BJ Mafia, what's poppin'? So Jaguar fans, once the Jaguars lost in the divisional round of this year's playoffs to the Kansas City Chiefs, we are usually so accustomed to looking forward to the draft, picking somewhere in the top 10, and the Jaguars don't have that this offseason. The Jaguars exceeded expectations last season, making it to the divisional round of this year's playoffs, and also the Jaguars spent the most money in last year's offseason free agency period buying an NFL team in one offseason, and it obviously paid dividends as guys like Foye Oluokun, Zay Jones, Christian Kirk, and Evan Ingram all had career-high seasons with the Jaguars this year, and a lot of Jaguar fans knew that we were not going to be big spenders in this year's free agency period because we don't really have the cap space to facilitate and actually pay a lot of guys, and that means that a lot of guys were going to have to walk. The Jaguars have had some notable guys move off from the team this season, and we've also had some guys sign back and re-sign with the team this offseason. I'm going to be talking about that in today's video, and at the very end, the Jaguars are looking like they're about to make some big-time moves. Potentially, it could all just be Twitter fingers, but we'll talk about that at the end of the video. Let's actually talk about this now. So I want to start off by talking about the players that the Jaguars have actually retained so far this offseason. The first one's going to come with backup quarterback CJ Beathard, a proven veteran, a guy who's been a nice, solid, probably mentor to Trevor Lawrence these last 2 seasons, and I love the fact that he's back on the team. I just think having a seasoned vet like a guy like CJ Beathard, a guy who's willing to accept the backup role at this point in his career, is just a good veteran and a mentor to a guy like Trevor Lawrence, so I was okay with this signing. And then the next one on the offensive side of the ball was with running back JaMycal Hasty, who we had actually gotten from the 49ers the previous season. I was extremely happy about that re-signing. I was hoping we would re-sign him because I think he's got a similar skill set to a guy like Travis Etienne. He definitely paid dividends. He had some big-time runs and some big-time plays for the Jaguars this season, and he's an extremely fast and explosive player, so I definitely don't mind him, especially in a Press Taylor and Doug Peterson-like offense. Sticking on the offensive side of the ball, the Jaguars did place their franchise tag on tight end Evan Ingram. It's going to be an $11.3 million cap hit, and like I said earlier about the free agent class, Evan Ingram had a career-high season with the Jaguars last year, 73 receptions, 766 yards, and 4 receiving touchdowns. Evan Ingram is a dynamic and skillful playmaker at the tight end position. He's really just a wide receiver playing tight end for Doug Peterson in this offense, and I'm extremely happy to have Evan Ingram back. He wants to be in Jacksonville. The fans embrace him. He embraces the team, the city, and the culture, and I really hope that we can sign him to a long-term deal at some point, whether it's this offseason or next. Hope he can stay a Jaguar for an extremely long time. Now moving over to the defensive side of the ball, the Jaguars retained defensive edge and lineman Roy Robertson Harris to a 3-year, $30 million deal. I don't have the guaranteed numbers right now in front of me. I actually did not look that up, so that's on my part for not looking that up. But with Roy Robertson Harris, he came on strong in the second half of the season. He was a big reason as to why the Jaguars' pass rush and front seven was extremely successful and why we had a late playoff push and playoff run to get in. Roy Robertson Harris was exceptional, great locker room guy, great vocal leader, and I love the production that I saw out of him. He made some big time plays, especially in that Chargers game, especially in that Titans game. He really came on strong. I know I've mentioned this in a couple different videos before, but I'm going to mention it yet again. Roy Robertson Harris is the first defender to ever record 4 tackles for a loss, 2 pass breakups, and a sack in a playoff game. Just the 7th defensive player in NFL history to ever have done that. Sticking with the defense, the Jaguars also re-signed safety Andrew Winger to a 3-year, $9.6 million deal, $6 million of that's guaranteed. I really like the depth signing of him. I think he's a great glue guy to the team. The fans have obviously embraced him those last couple of seasons, and I know I wasn't always on the Dewey train, but I definitely embraced him. And the fact that it was always the Jags originated from Andrew Wingard, that culture and that mentality, I think, is here to stay. Now that Andrew Wingard's back in Jacksonville, he's re-signed, and he obviously wants to bring a Super Bowl back to Jacksonville. Great special teams player. Comes in sometimes on defense and makes some solid plays. Definitely happy to have him back. And then headed to the special teams, the Jaguars have retained kicker Riley Patterson, who made a big time kick versus the Los Angeles Chargers to not only win us that game, but advance us to the divisional round. He was a solid kicker for the Jaguars this year. Very consistent for the most part. 30 of 35 from field goal range, 36 of 37 on his extra points. Loved what I saw from Riley Patterson this year. Hopefully he can continue to get better. Now, before I go into the free agents that we lost, let me talk about some of the pending Jaguar free agents that are most likely going to be gone off of this team, but as of right now, they're not under contract anywhere. The first one's going to come with cornerback Trey Herndon. He's been on the team, I think, since 2019. When Jalen Ramsey had requested a trade and we had traded him, he had came in, made some solid contributions, and he's been a nice special teams and nickel corner for the Jaguars over the years. He's not perfect, but he is a solid contributor and a nice depth piece. Wish him nothing but the best. I've actually met the guy before. Super good guy. Marvin Jones Jr., same thing there. Great veteran, great wide receiver that you want to have in any locker room. He was a safety blanket, and I called him Mr. Reliable. For Trevor Lawrence, all season, in his rookie year and in his sophomore campaign, love Marvin Jones Jr. I wish that we could retain him back, but I just hope that he gets an opportunity somewhere to go and win a Super Bowl, even though it's probably not going to be in Jacksonville. The next one's going to come with Shaquill Griffin, and this was an easy cut. A lot of Jaguar fans saw this coming, including myself. Shaquill Griffin's going to save about $13.7 million on the cap this season, and general manager Trent Baalke also did create a lot more cap space with a lot of the restructures. So cutting Shaq Griffin and the other restructures that we did definitely helped to open up some more cap space this offseason, and hopefully the Jaguars can use it. We will see, but this was an obvious cut that we all saw coming. The next two pending free agents are both defensive linemen. Dawuane Smoot, who's been a Jaguar since 2017, met the guy on a multitude of occasions, an extremely great guy, great locker room guy, and a great solid rotational piece. At 28 years of age, I don't know what his market's going to be looking like coming off a major injury. That was just heartbreaking to watch when he went down with that knee injury versus the New York Jets on Thursday Night Football. But I hope Dawuane Smoot gets retained, especially since we lost Arden Key, which I'll talk about in a little bit. And then the next one's going to be with Adam Gotsis, a guy who's been with the Jaguars for a handful of seasons now. I think a lot of the fans like him, solid depth piece, but I don't think that he's going to be coming back to this team anytime soon. So now let's actually talk about the free agents that the Jaguars lost this offseason, and the biggest one that the Jaguars lost this offseason was with right tackle Jawaan Taylor, former second-round pick, and he's going to be headed to the Kansas City Chiefs on a 4-year, $80 million contract. $60 million of that's going to be guaranteed, and I'm extremely happy for Jawaan Taylor. There is no way in hell I would have paid Jawaan Taylor that kind of money. I was a big advocate all offseason, especially on Twitter, pay Jawaan Taylor, but I was thinking nowhere near that money. I was thinking somewhere in the $54 million range, probably about $45 million of that guaranteed. I was thinking 40 to 45 of that guaranteed. But with Jawaan, I'm extremely happy that it panned out for him. We actually got a Florida Gator to actually work for the Jaguars. Been extremely successful. I know that he wanted to stay in Florida. I know that he wanted to be back with the Jags, but I can't be mad at the guy for getting $80 million and 60 of that million guaranteed. He's going to be having a chance to go and compete with the Kansas City Chiefs every single year for a Super Bowl. But I do believe that he will be sliding to the left tackle position. That will be very interesting because the Kansas City Chiefs are also moving on from Orlando Brown, but just best of luck to Jawaan Taylor. Oh, last point about the Jawaan Taylor thing is now that opens up a space for Walker Little to move to right tackle. So definitely going to be interesting to see what the Jaguars do in the draft, especially when it comes to grabbing that swing tackle because the Jaguars don't have that anymore. Now moving into another free agent that the Jaguars lost was with tight end Chris Manhertz, who will be signing with the Denver Broncos on a 2-year, $6 million contract. Good for Chris Manhertz, a great run blocking tight end, and we know that Doug Peterson will continue to beef up the tight end room because only right now we have Luke Farrell and Evan Ingram in position right now on the depth chart with the tight end. But Chris Manhertz, like I said, great run blocking tight end, and I'll always have love for him because I was in attendance in Houston for Trevor Lawrence's first NFL career game, and Chris Manhertz caught Trevor Lawrence's first ever NFL career touchdown. That was something amazing to watch in person. Got nothing but love for Chris. Best of luck to him in Denver. And now I'm about to go on a rant because the Jaguars' other big-time free agent that we lost this offseason was defensive edge Arden Key, who a lot of the fans really embraced, especially towards the back half of the season when the Jaguars started making their late playoff push. Him and Roy Robertson Harris were a big reason as to why the Jaguars' front seven was extremely electric. The guys were playing with a lot of swagger, and the guys were consistently getting QB pressures, and Arden Key was a big reason why Josh Allen, Roy Robertson Harris, and the entire front seven was feasting in the backfield on opposing quarterbacks, and he's going to be signing with the Tennessee Titans on a 3-year, $21 million, $13 million guaranteed deal. And let me say this first and foremost because let me kind of drop the act for a second. Jags fans got to stop dogging Arden Key. At the end of the day, I'm happy this man got a bag. He has not gotten a bag since coming into the NFL. His time with the 49ers, his 1-year deal with the Jaguars. I'm happy my brother got a bag because at the end of the day, that's what this game's about. Get that generational money. It's a business. Take care of yourself. Take care of your family. I'm not mad at Arden Key. Am I a little bit upset? I wanted Arden Key in Jacksonville just as much as the next person. Of course, the swagger, the intensity, and the juice that he really brought, especially with the whole boombox thing, and him saying, hey, we run the South, and then him also telling everybody, hey, you know, when I seen the division rivalry, what it is between the Jaguars and the Titans, it really pissed me off, for a lack of better words. I understand why Jags fans are upset that we didn't get Arden Key back. I understand the cap situation, I understand the business aspect of it, but at the end of the day, whether he's in Tennessee or not, and it sucks he happened to go to Tennessee, our biggest rival, bro, I'm happy for the man. I'm happy for the season that we had. I'm happy that Arden Key was a part of the reason as to why the Jaguars were successful, and he got to experience this with the city, the team, the culture, and the fan base that we are building. And I don't want anybody out there dogging him because I'm happy the man got his bag. At the end of the day, I wish he didn't go to the Titans. I wish he was still in Duval, but I'm happy for Arden Key. I cannot make that any more clear. Let me say it again. Now, to kind of wrap up this video, let's kind of get into some last-minute free agents that the Jaguars could still go out there and target. Even though I highly doubt it's going to happen, I'm really just living in an absolute fantasy land, and I'm going to drink all the Kool-Aid. Let's talk about some other notable free agents that are still out there right now. Even though the Jaguars only have $6.4 million of cap space as I speak right now, Darius Slay, Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, Yannick Ngakoue, Calais Campbell, Zadarius Smith is going to be on the trade block, or maybe he'll get released from the Minnesota Vikings, and Sean Murphy-Bunting. The big one that's been going on all day today after the Philadelphia Eagles had released Darius Slay is Darius Slay hinting to Jacksonville. Now look, I don't know what the implications are of this. Maybe Darius Slay is just, wanting to tease all the fans. Maybe he wants to get everyone's hopes up. Maybe he does want to come to Jacksonville. I don't know. But if you look at the tweets, he's responding to Fred Taylor. He's responding to Tyson Campbell. Maybe there's something brewing going on right there. Maybe Dilla, maybe all the other insiders know all the other information that maybe I'm not aware of right now. But whatever the pot is stirring, I would love to see Darius Slay in Jacksonville as of right now. Like I said, I'm just drinking the Kool-Aid. But the most realistic player I actually want to go out there and get is Sean Murphy-Bunting from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He is a great nickel corner. He's only 25, 26 years of age. He has proven to be significantly better than a guy like a Trey Herndon or any other nickel corner that we've had in the past. Darius Williams needs to stay on the outside. Tyson Campbell needs to stay on the outside. We need a nickel corner, and I really do not want to address that with our first-round pick. Sean Murphy-Bunting, a good young veteran, a guy who's been around, and he's played under Mike Caldwell before. Let's get Sean Murphy-Bunting to Jacksonville, y'all. But Jaguar fans, I want to hear your guys' thoughts in the comments down below. What has been y'all's reaction so far to this free agency class and this free agency period so far for the Jaguars? And we're talking about the guys that have walked, the guys that we've signed on, and the potential guys that we could get to Jacksonville. Hopefully by the time you guys see this video tonight, hopefully no big moves have been made so that I can actually talk about it in real time. But let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. But Jags fans, if you guys enjoyed today's video, man, make sure you guys drop me a thumbs up. It takes 1 second and it helps me in the channel out tremendously. And if you guys are new here, consider hitting that subscribe bell to stay tuned for more Jaguars content that I do here on YouTube. And make sure that you guys go follow me on my socials on Twitter, Instagram, and on TikTok. I'm very active and I'm on there every single day. The link tree will be in the description down below so that y'all can go check that out. But thanks again for sticking around throughout the whole video. Brett James, aka BJ. I'm out, y'all. Go Jags, baby. Peace.